They are deterred from jumping into the fray because they feel that money is too much of a leviathan and there are too many people in the present dispensation who have the money to buy votes.
So here is the problem. So now we have to go and tell the people, no, that is wrong. Politics is not dirty. It is people who make this politics not only dirty but disgusting as of today.
But this has never happened in Meghalaya. Nobody has worked at a vision document for Meghalaya. Why do you think so?
Which is why we need to aggressively work on highlighting the people about the role of the government.
Hello viewers. This morning I have with me Ardent Basaiawmoit, former MLA and MDC of Nongkrem constituency. He and a few of his well-wishers and people who think like him floated the Voice of People's Party in October last year with the intention of bringing in changes in the political ideology of this place, in the way people look at elections. He has been a firebrand politician and also a firebrand pressure group leader. He was once at the forefront of the Federation of Khasi, Jaintia and Garo Peoples Federation, the FKJGP. So, Ardent Basaiawmoit, can you tell us something about the Voice of People's Party? What made you float this party and what is the impact that you think it will have on voters? And how much of ground following do you have at the moment?
Well, thank you very much, Kong, for conducting this interview. And I'm sure it will enable the people of the state to know better about the Voice of the People Party,
Yes.
its ideology, principle, why and how it is launched. And before coming to your question, indeed, I would like to ask you, as a responsible and conscious citizen of our state, what do you see Meghalaya today? Do you see any future? Are you happy with what is happening and going on in the state? I'm sure you are not.
Yes.
So is the case with the leaders of the Voice of the People Party. We strongly feel that we cannot afford to remain as mute spectators, which is why we decided to launch this party, the Voice of the People Party, in order to bring about political change in the state. Because when you look at the state, there is problem everywhere. When you look at the living condition of the people, you have seen reports which was given by the Niti Aayog,
Yes.
that Meghalaya stands as the poorest state in the northeastern region. And it stands the 5th poorest state in India.
Yes.
And when you look at the education, Meghalaya is the worst performer in the education sector. When you look at the power sector, we still have to depend on the central government, the central share.
Yes.
And when you look at the menace of drugs, it is very alarming to find that Meghalaya has the highest proportion of heroin user and 50% in cannabis user. And it has the highest percentage in tobacco use with more than 96%. And injectable drugs is 25%, and those who use inhalant is more than 30%. So I think if these issues, which are so serious in nature, are not a matter of concern for the right-thinking people of the state, then what more else can we say?
Yes. True.
Which is why we feel that we need to bring about political change. Some people ask me, what happened now with the revolution Yadalakari? Because we launched this in 2019. So I told them that, you see, this is a part of it.
Yes.
We are on the move, but we understand that we cannot bring social change and economic change. We cannot uplift the economic condition of the people unless we first get to bring about a political change, because politics covers every aspect of life. So this is the thing that compels us, that motivate us to plunge this new political party. And the Voice of the People Party is going to be a party with a difference. Difference in the sense that it will be guided by strong principle, ideology, issues, philosophy, and the principle of clean politics, ideology which is based on strong regionalism. So it is going to be a party with a difference.
Okay.
So this is the reason that we are decided, to float this new political party. As of now, let me be very honest with you that we are working on the ground, but the situation is very, very discouraging, because everybody knows that we will fight election not on money power.
Yes. That was what I was going to come to.
Okay.
See, there are quite a number of young intellectuals, people in academics, and people from other walks of life who do want to fight elections with a purpose. And the purpose is to bring some change and to be legislators,
Yes.
and not just serving
Yes.
the constituency.
Yes.
But their biggest hindrance is money power, and they are deterred from jumping into the fray because they feel that money is too much of a leviathan, and there are too many people in the present dispensation who have the money to buy votes. So how can we bring change in the people's mindsets? Because see, I was reading this book by Drew Weston. It's called The Political Brain. This gentleman has done a lot of research. He's a psychologist also, and he says people vote on emotions.
Yeah.
They don't use their reason when they vote. So how are you going to address that part of it?
You see, what I feel and what I experience, it seems that most of the thinking people, those who are willing to really serve the state, who has a capacity, who are educated enough, but still they fall into the trap created. This is a narrative created by the businessman.
Yes.
By the money bags. Businessmen, they don't want good people to enter politics. So they created a narrative that only those who have money can enter politics. Only without money you cannot fight election. But I have, in fact, succeeded in contesting election without spending money. I won 3 elections without spending money. In fact, the people...
Did the voters themselves...
in fact, the people themselves support me financially.
Okay.
Even poor people, because they understand the purpose. They understand it is our duty. There is no shortcut in politics.
Yes.
If you want to win election, if you want to participate in politics, you need to work with the people for years altogether.
Yes.
You cannot go to the people 6 months, 5 months before election. By the time their minds are polluted.
Yes.
Their minds are filled with so many things. So you need to go and educate the people how to elect an elected representative, and you should know what is the duty of your MLA. You should know what is your right as a citizen. Once people are convinced that here are the duties of an elected representative,
Because
and here are the rights of the people.
Our people tend to mistake between unong tauan but unong yalam.
Yes, because they don't understand. No? Till today, you'll find that there is a lack of political consciousness. We feel because there is a wrong perception in the mind of the people, even the educated, especially among the Khasi community. We feel that politics is dirty. So we tend to avoid in taking part in any political discourse.
Yes.
Whenever you raise the word politics, you will be left alone in any room. Say, if there are few people sitting in the room, like in a funeral, suppose you start talking about politics, then one by one will leave that room because they feel that politics is something which is dirty. We don't want to listen, or we don't want to be part of that discourse. So here is the problem. So now we have to go and tell the people, no, that is wrong. Politics is not dirty. It is people who make this politics not only dirty but disgusting as of today.
Yes.
So as right people, we cannot succumb to these kind of tactics. So that is the reason we launched the Clean Politics. We launched the Clean Politics in 2010 with the intention to educate the people as far as politics is concerned. You know, when we talk about politics, we used to remind the people about the definition of politics according to Michael Curtis, in which he explained that politics is concerned with the manner in which power is obtained, exercised, and controlled. It's all about power.
Yes.
So now we complain about everything, and we don't want to be part of that power structure. That is the problem. So I think we need to change the mindset of the people. It is not a problem. It is not a big problem. It is not something that is not possible, but it requires
a lot of
time,
hard work,
yes.
time, and
you need to be consistent.
You need to also enlist more barefoot workers.
Yes.
So you must be the first party president to resign in 2018, owning moral responsibility for the defeat of the HSPDP, or rather the poor performance of the party. And also, I think your resignation was due to the fact that some of the HSPDP MLAs went and joined the ruling party.
Yes.
Now, in 2023, how can you prevent some from the VOPP from joining the ruling party? What kind of strategies will you adopt? And how will you tie them down to a certain condition that if we do not make it as the ruling party, we will continue to be a robust opposition?
There is a saying that we learn through experience. So why I resigned from as the president of the HSPDP, it is on the basis that I remember when we go to the people during election, we go to the people with a promise that this time around we want to have a non-Congress and a non-BJP government. After election, unfortunately, I lost. So, but the promise remains. As a president, I cannot just pretend as if I don't remember what we have assured to the people. So I try to convince my MLA, and the alliance which we have decided to have an alliance with the UDP as a party. So I met the other political party also that, see, we have promised to the people that we will...
This is for the next election?
No, I mean the previous I mean the... I want to discuss about the previous election, why I decided to resign.
Okay.
So then we promised to the people, and now we have the equation. Without Congress, without BJP, we can form the government. NPP plus UDP plus HSPDP, PDF, KNAM, and some other independent candidates, we can have a non-Congress. Why don't we go for this non-Congress and non-BJP government? So it is that contention, that I decide. Since our MLAs are not willing to listen, so I feel I don't have any moral right to continue as the president. When I cannot control or command or even convince my MLA to the promise that we have made to the people. That was the reason that I resigned as the president of the HSPDP. And now, what we do, and we have already had in mind that, see, we don't want that anything will fail from now. If we go to the people that we would like to have a corruption-free government, we'll have to stick to it. And we are trying to filter candidates who are subscribing to the same idea and ideology. Because last time we could not do much as far as the ideology of a person is concerned. And unfortunately, I lost the election, so I cannot play much as a leader. And it has been also a culture in the regional party that once you are not elected, your voices, your concern is meaningless. So I think that this time around we will be able to stick together, whatever we decide, but we will make a very clear stand right from the beginning.
So what will be your election pitch for 2023? What will be the sales pitch? Because everyone will try to do to say something different.
You see, we are promising to the people, and when we launched the party, we also launched the vision statement of the party. As leaders, we envisioned, if we are given a chance to be in the government, we envision Meghalaya in the next 30 to 40 years as revived, restored, and transformed. So some people ask me, but in what way you will bring change? So many people have talked about change, but in what way?
Yeah.
So we cannot, of course, reveal everything as of now, but in a nutshell, we know that there will be no growth and development for any country or any nation if the financial strength of that country is not stable and healthy. So in order to bring about change, we need to ensure that the financial strength of the state is stable and healthy. So we need to first ensure that financial stability of.
So what you're saying is, in short, that whoever is in government needs to have an economic vision,
Yes.
needs to have a vision that is social in nature, which you are
Yes.
talking about, the drugs scene in Meghalaya today. Needs to also have an educational vision. But this has never happened in Meghalaya. Nobody has worked at a vision document for Meghalaya. Why do you think so?
Perhaps there is a lack of seriousness. As I used to say that we don't really have serious political parties in Meghalaya. We have only parties that contest election. Their purpose is to win election only. After election, there's no other.
No, is it because, see, there is very little expectation also from the voters? Is it that the intellectual potency of the state of Meghalaya is not invested in the politics of the state? Because you need people to drive that thinking also.
Yeah.
And then you have a planning board which is headed by somebody who doesn't understand the role of governance, the role of planning, the role of envisioning.
Which is why we need to aggressively work on highlighting the people about the role of the government. What is the duty of the state? The duty of the state is to secure to all its citizens social justice, economic justice, and political justice.
Yes.
So where do we find justice now? We've seen that the bridge, that gaps between the rich and the poor are getting wider.
Yes.
The rich are getting richer through unfair means, and the poor are getting poorer through oppression. So, which is why we need to tell the people, this is the duty of the state. We need to discuss about the economic plight of the people, the living condition of the people, the health, rights on health, rights on education. So that is the urgent need of the hour. So, like what happened, I'm really inspired by the founder of Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew.
Lee Kuan Yew.
In which he mentioned that I cannot imagine when I think about him how he transformed Singapore from a third-class world into a first-class world.
But you need an authoritarian person to do that.
Yeah. So just within 30 years, he transformed Singapore from a third-class world into a first-class world. What he said really inspired me. That he said that public order, social security, personal security, social and economic progress and prosperity are not the natural of the things. They depend very much on the ceaseless effort of an honest and effective government that the people must elect.
Yes.
So we need to tell this message to the people of Meghalaya. Yes. You get a right person to be your MLA or your representative, then everything will fall in place.
Yes, true. So you have listed out the ills of the present MDA government, how it is conducting itself. But is it possible to defeat this juggernaut? Because it's surprising, it's also ironic that you see many more people joining the NPP today. So what strategies do you think you should use as a new party with a clean slate to defeat this juggernaut?
You see, in fact, there may be a wrong understanding on those who join these parties that are in governments, be it NPP or UDP, because they think that only money can win them election.
Yes, yes.
What the state requires now, the state requires a strong and determined and a committed person to be in the field. Because people as of now, they are really fed up with this present dispensation. Though the leaders may join these political parties, but the feeling on the ground is different, completely different. I could understand. People, they are not happy. People, they're surprised. You will be surprised when a common man will ask you why these leaders are joining these parties. So that means the ground speaks something else.
Yes.
So we just need committed, selfless person to go to the people.
And these people, I wonder if they have consulted their constituents when they join these parties. There's so much of churning now. We have begun to lose count of who is in which party.
Yes, yes.
So, isn't there is a law, of course, the anti-defection law, but that law doesn't seem to work really well. So, is there any way of tying down people to the party that they have joined?
You see, I think we have seen that not only that they are switching political parties like a player football from one club to another club. They are now start to complain each other. A partner in crimes, they are complaining
against each other
now. So the people, they are saying, because with the recent emergence of this social media, social platform, YouTube channel. So before, we used to go and tell the people whatever happened in Delhi, whatever happened in America, we have to go and hold a public meeting and tell them about that story. Now everyone gets the story on their hands. Instantly. So people are different. So there may be a mismatching between the thinking of those leaders and the people on the ground.
So do you think that VOPP has an active social media wing?
Yes,
don't you think you need that very much in this present world?
We are planning, and we have engaging some boys also. But since we are still waiting for some official consideration from the election commission, we just need some time. That is the main problem with us. That is why we could not launch aggressively.
Okay. So, in the 2018 elections, you lost by 76 votes.
Yes, by 77.
It was quite a surprise to many. Why do you think that happened?
You see, in fact, there are many factors that works for my defeat. If only one factor missed, I would have won the election. So, our decision to have an alliance with UDP was one of the reasons. Had it been that there was no alliance, UDP would have fielded a candidate in this constituency and they would have voted for their own candidates. But because there was no UDP candidate, UDP voters, they decide not to vote for me and vote to the present MLA. And there are some other factor also, like there's one person who try to mislead people, link people between the voting and this Aadhaar. How this voting will link to the Aadhaar. So people, they are scared of Aadhaar. There are some people who are still, apprehensive about Aadhaar. So they don't want to vote because they were made to understand that once you vote, then automatically you will be connected to an Aadhaar.
Oh, so you mean a lot of people didn't even go to vote?
Yeah, my own voters must be more than 1,000 who love me, who pray for me, but they didn't go.
And there was nobody to clear their doubts?
because something with a spiritual kind of understanding, it is not that easy to remove immediately, you know. It takes time.
Yes.
Then we came to know at the 11th hour we cannot do anything, but still we feel that we will still manage to win.
And this is only like God.
No, it happens almost like in Maukandro. There are so many people who are afraid of that story. So maybe that is also a political motivation by someone how to,
Yes, it could be.
Get me defeated.
No, what I'm trying to say is, if even in Lightcore, which is not very far from the city, people still have these apprehensions about Aadhaar, then we can imagine what happens in the back of the land.
In the interior part of the state.
So, do you think what is your view of the land swap between Assam and Meghalaya? Do you think that the MDA government did the right thing? Because their claim is that in the past, it was not even taken up at the chief minister's level. This is the first time that two chief ministers have taken up this issue seriously after studying the ground realities. So, what do you have to say on this?
I think in the beginning, let me be very honest with you. In the beginning, we feel that we need to give this government the benefit of the doubt. And in good faith, we don't want to give any statement, to issue any statement, because we feel that it might give a political color or it might sabotage the entire process. So we feel that, okay, let us give this government the benefit of the doubt. But after the signing of MOU, and when they made it public, we came to know that the entire process was completely unacceptable. And you cannot say that the previous governments were not engaged in dialogue with the counterparts of Assam or the chief minister's level. There was dialogue, but maybe not so serious. Of course, we can see that, but the attempt made by the present government in Delhi and the present government in the state, both the state of Meghalaya and Assam, that the Congress government did nothing, they gave Meghalaya a state without a boundary, is completely wrong. No state can become a state without a boundary, because boundary is one of the characteristics of the state. Population is one of the another characteristics of the state. So no state can be given without having.
It was our own fault that we didn't pursue this matter seriously.
The territory of Meghalaya is being defined right from the autonomous state through the Assam Reorganization Act 1969. And when we get our full-fledged state through the Northeastern Areas Reorganization Act 1971, that should be the basis. That should be the basis how to start the entire process. But it seems that this government, maybe both the government in center and in the state, wants to get a credit. That we have to do.
It's intended to become an election issue.
They just want to get a political mileage that here we have a government that no government in the past have done this, but not at the cost of our own people. You cannot simply throw away our people overnight to become, outsiders in the other states. You have to think for that, no? And I wonder if the government is so serious, why should the government, decide to leave out the real stakeholder? Because the real stakeholder here is the traditional heads. Because the definition of the territories, even in this autonomous state, is based on the para 20 of the 6th schedule. Para 20, it reflects the caste states. So through caste states, you get autonomous state. That means if you don't involve these real stakeholders like the traditional heads, how do you expect that the present generation will know about the boundary of the state?
Let me come now to another very important question, which I think has to be included in this interview, which is the very poor socio-economic indicators. You had stated earlier on some of those, but when you look at women and child health, you look at maternal mortality, infant mortality, it's very high in Meghalaya. Then we have this NFHS Survey 5, which says 41% of households in Meghalaya are headed by single women, and 42% of the population live in those households. This is a big challenge to any government, but the government has not taken any decision or any welfare measures to deal with this. Then we come to also the problem of landlessness, which is growing.
I'm about to speak,
Yes.
in fact. Okay.
So will the VOPP take these as very critical issues?
You see, Kong, we are now working on our vision documents. And it is very indeed sad to learn that though we claim that the land in Meghalaya belongs to the people, but when you look at the social, economic and caste census report, it was reported that only 24%
Yes.
of the household in Meghalaya has land.
Yes.
You know, the remaining 76 are landless people.
Landless.
This is a very serious issue. And coming to the single mothers, you see, we need, to understand the root cause. When you look at the root cause, you'll find that our marriage is too loose,
unstable.
which is why I brought a bill in 2011, if I'm not mistaken, about the compulsory registration of marriage. We need to make it compulsory.
Are you part of the Machaprang movement?
We are working together, but I took up in the assembly and I brought it as a private member's bill. I was prevented, in fact, by the party I belong in those years, but I didn't listen to the party, but it was rejected. Then I brought another form of discussion in the form of a motion, so that my fellow colleague will understand the dire need to have this registration of marriage, compulsory registration. This will somehow, bond the family. It will fix the responsibility on a person. Before he married to anyone, he should understand that he has a responsibility that will be made accountable because the law is there. But unfortunately, again, you'll find that in this government, they have brought an amendment to this act whereby they don't make official anymore. If you don't make this registration of official, then what is the point of having a compulsory?
Yes.
It's as good as not having a law at all. So this is the problem, and we are working on it, and I hope that soon we will be able to come out with the vision documents where we will address all these pertinent issues and very important issues. These issues are in our hearts. We have experience and we have learned. We know a lot of the, it's going to be an uphill task for us. It is going to be an uphill task. We understand. So we need to understand that it is not an easy walk for us.
So thank you very much, Ardent, for that very candid interview with the Shillong Times. And we wish the VOPP all the best. We hope that you will be able to bring a new future, a new, envisioning a future for Meghalaya that is inclusive, that will raise the economic standards of people, and that will address these core issues of health, nutrition, and wasting and stunting of children, which, these are issues that bring down the profile of the state. So we wish you all the best.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for this time that you've given
We hope
us.
And we are looking forward, to the support from the people, because until and unless we have a clean and good governance, then we will not be able to do anything. I am afraid for the future of the state. Thank you so much.
Viewers, we end this interview with Mr. Ardent Basaiawmoit, and we hope that you will also give your inputs to this new political party. Thank you very much.
Thank you.